Hey there, how's everybody doing? Tim Shea here with the Shea Group Realty, providing you another episode of the Freeze Frame Market Snapshot. There's a lot going on as we're heading into this holiday season, and I've got some numbers here for you. And people ask me the question, how is the market doing? And I say, well, that depends on whether you're buying or whether you're selling. So without any further ado, let's take a look at some of the numbers that I have for you and interpret what that data means. Well, first we're going to look at the time frame between 2015 and 2016 from October 1st to November 16th. Right now we're talking about Essex County single-family homes and condominiums. In sales, we're actually up 6.2% from this same time frame in 2015. In median prices, the median price is rising as well. We're actually up 4.49%, so that's great. It means that sellers are getting top dollar in this market. People still tend to think that the highest point in the market over the last 16 years was around 2007, 2008, and in fact, we've far surpassed that as of last year and continuing on through this year. In inventory, this is one of the biggest factors, we're actually down 17.3%. That means that there's just not a lot of inventory, and we'll talk about that as it relates to month supply in 1 second. In pendings, we're also down. This is also a little indicative of the time frame as we head into the holiday season, but it also means what we're forecasting out to close in the next 30, 60, 90 days. So that's kind of slowed down a little bit. And in months supply of inventory, we're actually down 33%, down to 1.2 months of inventory. If you've seen my previous freeze frame market snapshots, I've talked about a balanced market being six months of inventory. Anything below that is a seller's market, and anything above that means that there's a lot of inventory and it's a buyer's market. And we are currently in a very, very tight seller's market. So prices are now 6.1% above the same period in 2005, which was in fact the peak year. In year to date, this is just from January 1st through from January 1st to November 11th. In sales, we're actually up 3.4% for the year. In median price, we're actually up 2.9%. And in total sales, we're actually up 8.9%. So that's great. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what those numbers look like broken down into different segments of volume and the prices. Well, first we're going to start at under $450,000, and this is where it becomes incredibly tight. So if you're the average buyer and you're purchasing under $450,000, it's an incredibly tight market. If you're selling, you're in a great market to go ahead and sell. You know that you can get top dollar, and you can also have a lot of people competing for your property. So in sales, we're actually up 3.7%, and again, this is from October 1st to November 16th, under $450,000. Sales were up 3.7%. Inventory, we are down, and this again, partially due to the time in the season where people tend to take their property off as we head into the winter months and past the holiday season. We're down 30% in inventory. And in month supply, we're down 30.7% to 0.9 months of inventory. That means it would take the current amount of inventory out there 0.9 months to go ahead and sell. So just under a month it would take to sell the current amount of inventory. Things even up a little bit more as we get into the 450 to 700,000. In sales, we're up 9.1. In inventory, we're basically even. And in month supply, even though it's greater than under 450, we are still down 9.5%. 700,000 to 1 million, we're actually up 22%, 22.9 to be exact, from 2015 to 2016. In inventory, we're down 13.4%. And in month supply of inventory, we're actually it should say negative, we're actually down 30.23%. In a million and over, we are actually up 12.5% in sales. We're even as it relates to inventory. And in month supply, we're actually down 10.1. So what does this mean all around? It means that if you're purchasing under the $500,000 mark, you're in a very, very tight market as it relates to the amount of inventory that you have to choose from, chances are you've probably lost out once, twice, multiple times in offers, which is why it's very important to get an agent that understands the market, how to negotiate, the tricks of the trade, and somebody that can use their skills to go ahead and leverage that in an offer scenario. But it also means too that if you're looking to sell, it means that you're getting top dollar. So again, I asked the question, how is the market doing? And again, that matters as to whether or not you're buying or selling. If you're buying, there are still deals to be had, but you got to be competitive, and there are tricks that we can go ahead and help leverage those. But it's a very tight market until you get up over the $500,000 mark. And if you're selling under $500,000, you're going to get top dollar premium value for your property, and it's going to sell fairly rapidly. So if you want to find out more information about how the market's reacting in your area, I'd love the opportunity to talk to you. You can always call me and text me at 781-789-5128, or you can always find me on the web at mrlista.com. Until I see you out there, happy house hunting.